Hello and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show who thinks that Winston Churchill could have been talking about Omar Bradley when he said, "He is a very humble man who has much to be humble about. Give me the flash of Patton any day of the week." Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Betrayal at Baldurs Gate from Avalon Hill and Wizards of the Coast. Betrayal at Baldurs Gate is a retheming of Avalon Hill and Wizards of the Coast's Betrayal at House on the Hill, the very popular haunted house game. Obviously, there's many differences in this game to that original, but essentially it's a very, very similar game, very similar mechanics. Now, how the game works is you each choose an adventurer. Your adventurer has a unique power, and you've got kind of flip sides of the adventure cards you've got. You place the little markers on the side that you slide up and down, the sliders that show exactly where your health are for your various traits, your physical damage, your mental damage, knowledge, sanity, speed, and might. You go ahead, you look at these factors, and they kind of determine what you can do. For instance, speed is going to determine how many spaces you can move. And you start out with the two tiles. You start out with one in the catacombs, one that has kind of the opening hall with the kitchens on there. And what you can do then is go ahead and as you move into different rooms, you grab a tile. And there are three different kinds of tiles. There are kind of streets, there are buildings, and there are the catacombs. So depending on the color of the door that you're going into, you draw from that stack. You draw from that stack, you place it there, you have a new room. The new room you just had may have some text in it. You, of course, will read the text and figure out exactly how that affects you. Sometimes they only affect the first person in there. Sometimes they affect anyone that goes through that room. Sometimes they only affect you if you end your turn in that room. But you're going through and you're exploring. And really the first part of the game is exploring. You're seeing these new locations, these new tiles as they come out. But critically, some of the tiles as they come out will have symbols on them. For instance, you may find an event tile. The event tile means you're going to draw an event card. And event cards may have you do certain things. They may test some of your skills. Or they may have just some other kooky things occur to you or your fellow adventurers here in this at Baldur's Gate. You may also find an item card. If you find the item symbol, you get to draw the item card, and the item card is usually a weapon or some lucky charm that you can use that will help you as you further your quest here throughout the game. Finally, you may find an omen symbol. If you find the omen symbol, then you draw an omen card. The omen card has some very interesting and unique things going on with them too. They're kind of like events, kind of like items, but they may be something else entirely. But critically, after you draw the omen card, you have to make an omen check. So essentially, you roll a number of dice equal to the number of omen cards in play. So if there's just one out there, you just roll one, and that really doesn't matter because you're not going to hit what you need to hit. What you need to hit is 6 or more. Now these dice you have aren't just d6s. They have many blank sides, they have sides that only have 1 pip, and they have some sides that have 2 pips on them. So it's really not going to be until you get to have 3 dice that you've even got a possibility of hitting that 6. But nevertheless, as you draw more and more of these omen cards, you're building your buildings, you're building the tiles everywhere, the catacombs, the buildings, the city streets. You're building those out, and you're rolling the dice to determine, of course, whether or not you trigger the haunt. And that is because if on one of those omen rolls you hit 6 or better, you do trigger the haunt. And this is where the game begins. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the omen card, and then you're going to look at the room that triggered that particular omen card, and then you're going to look on a special grid in one of the books. You're going to look in one of the books here, and then it's going to tell you exactly which haunt you will be doing. It will also tell you who in your group is the traitor, because one of you will become a traitor when the haunt begins, hence the name Betrayal at Baldurs Gate. It's not let's all get along Baldurs Gate, because, you know, no one would play it. So it's Betrayal. After you figure out who the betrayer is, you give the traitor his traitor book. You then will take the scenario book, the people who remain there, and you'll each read what your specific information is pertinent to you and how you will win the game. Now, all things being equal, the traitor and the other people will not know exactly what the conditions are of the other person. The traitor won't know what the adventurers are. The adventurers won't know what the traitor's is. So you're trying to figure this out as you're playing it. And these things are weird and wild. I don't want to spoil any of the haunts. Because they're fun and they're goofy and they're great stories, and I won't spoil any of them for you. But they take all sorts of different forms. Now I have to tell you, I played Betrayal in the House on the Hill many times, with and without the expansion. I've never played the same haunt twice. I think there's like 50 in each of these games, and so it's got vast replayability here. And you're always going to get a different haunt. Maybe theoretically not always, but very often you're going to get a different haunt. Now, you go through it, depending on what the specific scenario rules are, depending on what the specific victory conditions are, and other things that pop up. You may have monsters come out that you have to fight. You may have to, of course, move to certain spaces on the board and trigger certain things that go there. You may have a timer that appears. All sorts of things happen. So whoever, either the traitor or the adventurers, meets their specific winning conditions on that scenario, then, of course, they will win Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. I should point out there are some fully cooperative scenarios in Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, in which case it's let's all get along at Baldur's Gate. But it's still fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a huge fan of Betrayal at House on the Hill. That's a game I've played with and I've enjoyed a lot. It's not one of my absolute favorite games. Zach Zembrunnen, who I associate with, I can't imagine why, but this is really one of his. He loves this. Anytime we talk about some of our best gaming experiences, he brings up Betrayal and House of the Hill. He really enjoys this game. Now, I do too. I have really loved Betrayal and House of the Hill. I enjoyed the expansion to it, Widow's Walk. I thought that added some fun and interesting new haunts as well. This one, as I say, is very similar. It is very similar to Betrayal and House of the Hill. But of course it's not exactly the same. The haunts are different. They changed up some of the things there. Like I say, you hit the haunt on a 6 or higher. I think it was a little bit more than that in the Betrayal and House of the Hill, or it had to be higher than a 6. Here it's a 6 or higher. If you're already familiar with House on the Hill, they have a little thing at the beginning saying, okay, here's what's different from Baldur's Gate from House on the Hill, and that was kind of nice to see too. There's good stuff. There's always, it seems to me though, every time I play Betrayal and House of the Hill and Betrayal and Baldur's Gate, there are always questions I have that are not really covered in the rule book, and that kind of bums me out a little bit. But they're always just little things, and you kind of play around them. I have to tell you, Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, like Betrayal at House on the Hill, this is not really a game I play to win. This is not a game I get super competitive about. This is a game I play for the story. A lot of games, I love games that tell great stories, but even in some of those games that tell great stories, you still kind of want to win. You still play to win. But that's in the back of your head, but you're enjoying the story. This game for me is all about story. I don't go into this game thinking, I'm going to win, it's going to be great. I don't go in winning a game like this and, I did something great here. Because there's some randomness here. There's some just kooky, wild stuff that happens in this game, in these games. But I'm okay with that. I like the stories it tells. I like the experience that this game creates. It's super, super fun, and I really love it. I love Betrayal and House of the Hill, and I really have liked what I've played so far of Betrayal at Baldur's Gate, and I know I'm going to play it some more because it's a fun game. So the recommendation for the discriminating gamer for Betrayal at Baldur's Gate is buy it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer, and to quote George S. Patton, video games are all right, but give me a good board game any day of the week. He said that. It's in his memoirs, I think.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time
Romulans, Borg, Ferengi, and Klingons, because we